Say, hey, hey, G, hey, E, we represent, hey, hey, G, E, what else, what else, C, come on, come on, come on, C, just let's go, so let's dance now, it is my turn, just want you, I am ready for your action, just want you should cut off all distraction. It's all on you now, and just give me some reaction. Just wanna you. Girl, I like the way you move. Really wanna get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
Hello everybody and welcome to another great edition of Rubbing Minds. The month of March has been International Women's Month, and it's been such an honor to bring you some of the stories and of course some of the experiences of some of Nigeria's most iconic women. They've pioneered from industry to politics, activism, advocacy, you name it. Right here throughout this month, we've brought their stories. And as much as International Women's Month is coming to an end, we sure know that you expect us to end it with a bang. That's exactly what we'll be doing today. So make sure you stay glued, relax, interact with us on social media. Remember, the handle is Rubbing Minds Show. We look forward to hearing all of your feedback and, of course, to sharing some of your insights about what you thought of the month of March here on Rubbing Minds. But before we get into it, we're going to take a very, very quick breather. But you sit back, get ready, because it's about to be lit. This is a Rubbing Minds special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton. Hello everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned to this Rubbing Minds International Women's Month special powered by Lipton. Now, throughout this month, we have brought you some incredibly engaging and informative interviews with some of the most iconic women in Nigeria. Now, there's a woman I'm really excited about getting into a conversation today. She just recently came in as the second ever chairperson of a Nigerian bank, as the chairwoman of Access Bank Group Nigeria. And I'm so excited to be joined by Dr. Ajoritsedere Awosika. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Pleasure.
It's first of all, congratulations. This is a massive milestone. Not just, I always say this, not just for Nigeria, but I think for the African continent, because the more stories we have and the more women we have to look up to in positions of leadership, the better example that we have set for other women following in your footsteps. Tell me a little bit about those moments where you got the confirmation of this, of your new office and the sentiment around it for you.
Not a very sentimental person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For me, it's a responsibility, and the moment of thought for me, that was it. That I should think on the responsibility and how to go about it in a way that will be beneficial to mankind and to the institution, and above all to the glory of God. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. But I had a woman before me, Chairman Mo, we call her, Musu, and she's led very well, so she showed the example. So it was good. So there was nothing to worry about because there was one person ahead. And in the board, it's a team spirit, very strong one. And we respect the chair, but we work together as a group to do the work, to make sure that we get results. We're all challenged equally for what they're doing.
And, looking at sort of those instances where you almost have to prove yourself as a woman, organizationally and in terms of corporate culture, what can really be done to start tearing away at some of these limitations? You still hear so many stories about young women who go in for job interviews. Once the HR consultant finds out that they just got married or, they may have plans to have children, it becomes uncomfortable already. But, just from your years of experience, are you seeing any sort of evolution in corporate culture that stops segregating against, especially young women who are trying to get their careers started, trying to progress in their career? careers, but are really just being blocked by the fact, you know, you walk in, oh, you just got married, oh, you just had a child, are you going to have another child? It almost seems like it already puts you at the bottom of the list when it comes to employment criteria.
Thank you very much. I think that remains a problem, and that remains a challenge. As long as we continue to weigh the right skills for the job that we want, then you get the people. So the criteria matters. Has it changed? I think it has changed for most organizations, particularly in government, and also I can speak for Access Bank. It has changed. And that does not preclude any woman from taking a job. In the federal service, there are no criteria set for entry. So once the criteria does not say because you have just gotten married, you are having a child, so it's not going to be used to judge you for an interview. So that's the point. Yes, but definitely those
nuance of it,
those things still happen.
The perception of it.
They still happen now. What I tell young women is position yourself in the can-do way, and don't be sort of pity pie, trying to say, oh, yes, I can do it, even though I just had a baby. Forget that. You just had a baby, and somebody had you, and you're where you are. So because you are where you are, and that person brought you up and did not have to go through any, or did not have to suffer any setback, or may suffer setback that you can learn from, you have to move forward by saying, I can do it.
You know, I find it so refreshing that you love to focus on sort of our, you know, your character and your determination and, you know, certain qualities within you, especially because we live in a world where now, if you go to so many motivational talks, if you hear, especially, you know, generally people in positions of power and influence, there's a lot of advice around dress how you want to be addressed, package yourself a certain way, look a certain role, and so forth. So when you walked in, I know everybody here, you know, saw you, and we found you so breathtaking because there's an understated aura about you, which is very unexpected for somebody in your position, especially in Nigeria. Is this an intentional choice on your part, or, you know, what are some of your thoughts when, with regards to, you know, women? I believe they have a term for it called professional dressing for women, and, you know, and there's so many different things that are being thrown out there about how women feel successful women should all look uniform and dress a certain way, and that's a norm that you have, you know, departed from, and I personally adore that.
Thank you, Zuberi. Thank you for the compliments. But true to the fact, the truth is, I don't want somebody to see me as just somebody who's dressing, spending on my time on my dressing table, looking for clothes in my wardrobe to wear, and that's what I'm all about. No. I'm all about inside me out. So, and I have something to offer. It's not about my dress. It's not my shoe. It's not my jewelry. It's not, and that's just it. And then I was telling somebody, they came to greet me and said, we're dashing somewhere. I said, I'll be ready in 5 minutes. And she thought it was a joke. And I was out in 5 minutes. And she said, well, I said, I needed to wear a dress. I have some dresses dry cleaned. They are in my wardrobe. Put it on. I'll do my powder in this thing. Say, oh, you didn't, no makeup? I said, okay. What do you really make up, really? It's what you like. I like myself this way, and I'm just going to put my powder and move on. So you be yourself. If you like to make up, be yourself. Spend time and make sure that it doesn't take your valuable time of your life. Because life is about time. 24 hours in a day. How many hours of that day do you use to sleep? How many hours of the day do you use to talk? How many hours of the day do you spend thinking about the dress you want to wear? And what is the resultant effect of all of those things? Sleep will give you a good mind, so great, but if you sleep too much, you're going to sloppy too. And spending time to 1 hour, 2 hours on making up, I think is a waste of time, to be honest. That's about 10% of the time in the day. amazing. So, I mean, you just have to...
You know, when you break it down like a banker.
Yes, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, really, and those are the things that make them think that. But there are some well-dressed women that I admire. They plan themselves very well. They've spend their leisure time to do their nails, and they like it, so they do it, and all of those things. But while I know one in particular, while she's doing it, she's reading a book that is enriching her. And I admire that. So we got to be able to plan ourselves to be rich. When you say somebody is rich, it's not money. The person is rich in being able to give good dividends on a day's time.
Wow, so grounded. So this is honestly really enjoying this conversation. Now I want to segue over to the theme for this year's International Women's Month, which is I Am Generation Equality. What does this evoke in you when you hear it?
It's a most correct statement that has to be adapted to by everyone, that God created us male and female. So generation from the beginning of creation till now is equal. And that's the sense that we need to get, both men and women, that we're generation equal. And that we have the capacity to collaborate, the capacity to love, the capacity to work, all that it represents in the values of generation equal remains the values that drive every human being to be able to achieve.
Well, there's a concern when you look at, other African countries, Kenya, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and the level of female representation that they have, whether it be in government or in corporate circles, very high percentages. And, we look at Nigeria and it seems the women who are at the helm are very vocal and are doing great, but there's not nearly enough. What is it that Nigeria can learn from countries like Ethiopia, like Rwanda, where women have been able to take up the space that's required of them in order for us to fulfill generation equality?
Thank you. I hear a lot of conversation on this. And it's true we have not made very good progress in Nigeria. I know about the Ethiopian environment, but the Ethiopian environment is not the Nigerian environment. And I think that what is happening and continually is being demonstrated across the states, the legislative, everywhere, is the fact that women don't have time for rubbish.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, women don't have time. I mean, I won't go into politics with the kind of politicking, rigging, and all this kind of thing. Why should people rig for me to become somebody? To be able to work for the people and serve the people. So the system is wrong, and women don't have time. I think, in my mind, that's what is happening, that women don't have time for all this system where, you have to go and have a godfather and a godmother and a this. I don't know what it is.
What about in a corporate environment?
In the corporate environment, I think women are doing well. Before now, women have not gone in with the aim to drive themselves to reach the top. But we've had some women too, who have gone right there, and they've done very well. They're not disappointing in any way. And now that women have started to have stability in the management of their home and in the management of their environment and choice of career, in the public sector, we have a lot of women. I mean, women have been heads of service in the public sector. The Engineer Okeke, Ama Pepple, so many, Oyota, and the current one, Shade, and women permanent secretaries are there. Female ministers, yes, they've come and gone. Perhaps they are politically chosen, I don't know, but some have been very good. So we're moving, and it's just the consciousness of, to my mind, women don't want their time wasted. I'd rather go and have my shop than stay in a place where they mess me up. So, I mean, that's the way I see women. When you listen to even the young women, that's what happens.
accountability and inclusion, I think, is still a big theme, and we're looking at it. Let's look at it from an economic perspective as well. Especially in the context of a bank, with having as many women involved as possible, from the top to the bottom, in financial participation. So I'm looking at from the level of mergers and acquisitions, where we're still not seeing as many women as we possibly could see, as many women as, let's say, we're seeing in the actual bureaucracy of the private sector. And, just down to the small to medium scale business level, what are some of the strategies to drive this female inclusion when it comes to financial and economic empowerment?
Well, you see, I'm a realist. The structure on ground, you can't change it overnight. You can only rebuild the structure. The systems are set. Now, a woman to coming into the structure has to be ingenious.
Wow. So we're still, okay.
And we need to be real to the fact that we don't have the capability, financial capability, to be able to drive restructuring of the system to bring us in a way that will create a good change for women to come on the platform the way you describe it. So that's why I said you have to be ingenious. It's good to talk and shout about it, but I think it's good to go back on a thinking table and say, how do we do it? In a closed door, in a closed room, where we can think on how do we reshape the system to allow. Because men won't say because they want women to come in, so they sleep. We don't want that as well, because they're our sons, they're our husbands, they're our fathers. So we don't want that. So we want to come in a way that will be complementary sufficiently to broaden the system to allow all to come up. And that means structure and systems management.
I know you're a visionary because you make it sound so easy, but I hope from, listening to some of your thoughts, I hope other women can also feel encouraged and inspired to the possibility that a better life, financial inclusion, career advancement and so forth are actually very, very real possibilities for women of all ages. But if you had to just give your final piece of advice on, whether it's mentorship or entrepreneurship, or, life in both the private and public sector, what's your final take that you would share that you think is the most central piece?
Thank you, Zubair. I say it in the private and I'll say it in the public. A woman is not disadvantaged because it's a woman. And a woman does not get to the top as an advantage because it's a woman. If you think you are disadvantaged because you're a woman, you will remain there. If you think that you're advantaged as a woman to get to the top, you will fail. So a woman should accept, we should accept ourselves as we have been created, and again, bring the value of what we have inside and work with it to achieve the vision that we have. And then don't be apologetic for your gender, because it has nothing to do with your living. You breathe the same air that others breathe. Just use nature to teach yourself. The sun is on you like on the men. If God did not differentiate you, no one can. And possibility is about you. You are the first capital of your possibilities.
I love that. You are the first capital of your possibilities. On that note, Dr. Ajoritsedere Awosika, we are looking forward to your leadership, that's for sure. So thank you for this conversation. I know for a fact I'm looking forward to seeing, what the next few years holds for you and, of course, for Access Bank. Okay, on that note, that's Dr. Ajoritsedere Awosika, who is the new chairperson of Access Bank Group. Really looking forward to what the next few years under her tenure will look like for the banking sector in Nigeria. Now we're going to take a very quick intermission. When we return, plenty more from the Rubbing Minds International Women's Month special powered by Lipton. Don't you move. This is a Rubbing Minds special for International Women's Month powered by Lipton. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Now, as much as we are getting insightful information from some of the pioneers and icons within the Nigerian space, it's a really incredible time for us to also be able to celebrate some of these women. And Dr. Awosika, that's exactly what we're doing today. On behalf of the Governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, he would like to present you with this, which is a letter and a token of appreciation for being one of the 200 women that Lagos State is celebrating this International Women's Month. So this is from him. I'll just help you crack this open. Right. And then I'll leave you to do the honors.
Thank you very much. This is very kind of the governor, and thank you very much.
I'm just the messenger.
This presentation. Yes, well, it's very important, and it's good for everyone to see. This is lovely.
Oh, that's stunning.
Oh, International Women's Day, and it's signed by the governor, and it's congratulating us. So, expecting a lot for us to contribute to his government.
Yeah.
And we sure will.
Certainly. And I'm sure he knows you're more than capable. And that's a token of his appreciation. Maybe I can just hold this up so that our viewers can get a good look at it.
Yes, it's good for them to know what he has given. Because women are transparent.
Yes,
and they're accountable. This is lovely. Wow.
So this is celebrating 200 women.
I mean, this is just good for a woman. Lovely.
Isn't it just?
This is
absolutely stunning.
So thank you very much.
Wanna get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me.